Ethan wiped the sweat off his forehead as he stepped out of the small workshop he had built with his own hands. The sun of the frontier planet, Eridos, hung low in the dusty sky, casting long shadows across the settlement. It was a quiet evening, almost too quiet, the kind that made every sound, from the distant howl of the wind to the creak of a door, feel louder than it really was. Ethan liked quiet most of the time, but tonight, something felt different. As he walked along the narrow path that led to his small home, he noticed movement near the edge of the settlement. At first, he thought it was a stray animal, common on Eridos, surviving on scraps and leftover food. But as he came closer, he saw two small figures huddled together, shivering violently in the cold evening air. They were girls, no older than 10 or 12, their faces pale and streaked with dust, their clothes thin and torn. Ethan's heart tightened. He had seen many hardships in the settlement, but the sight of these two children struggling to survive alone struck him deeply. He approached slowly, speaking in a soft, calm voice. "Hey there. Are you lost?" The older girl looked up, her eyes wide and frightened. "No, we're not lost," she stammered. Her younger sister clung to her side, shivering even more. Ethan knelt down to their level. "It's cold out here. You shouldn't be alone. Come with me. I'll give you something warm to eat." The girls exchanged a glance, hesitant, unsure if they could trust this stranger. But hunger and the chill in the air were stronger than fear. Slowly, they nodded. Ethan extended his hand, and the older girl took it first, then the younger one. And they followed him to his home. Inside, the small home smelled faintly of metal and oil, but it was warm. Ethan had built it himself, a simple structure of metal panels and insulated walls, with a small kitchen corner and a bed tucked in one side. The girls' eyes widened as they stepped inside, taking in the warmth and safety. Ethan moved quickly, lighting a small burner and beginning to prepare a simple meal. He had some rations left from his work in the settlement, dried meat, vegetables, and a packet of nutrient paste. It wasn't much, but it would be enough to fill their empty stomachs. While he cooked, the older girl finally spoke. Why are you helping us?" she asked, her voice soft and cautious. Ethan smiled gently. "Because no one should have to be out there alone, especially children. I've had tough days, too. And someone helped me once. It's only right to pass it on." The younger girl peeked from behind her sister, her eyes wide and curious. Will it hurt?" she whispered. Ethan shook his head. "Nothing will hurt you here. I promise." He served them the warm meal, the steam rising in the small kitchen. The girls hesitated for a moment, then slowly began to eat. Their small hands trembled as they held the utensils, and Ethan could see how starving they truly were. He ate with them, keeping the conversation light, talking about the stars outside the window, the strange dust storms that sometimes swept across the planet, and even about the few animals that had managed to survive here. As the evening wore on, the girls began to relax. They laughed quietly at one of Ethan's jokes, and he felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't experienced in a long time. For a moment, the harshness of the settlement, the dust, the cold, and the loneliness seemed to disappear. After they finished eating, Ethan led them to the small sleeping area. He had one bed, large enough for him and one guest, and a small cot that he usually reserved for visitors. Tonight, he insisted the girls sleep on the cot. "I'll stay up tonight," he told them. "You get some rest. It's been a long day for you." The girls hesitated, then climbed onto the cot. The older one hugged her younger sister tightly, and soon their breathing evened out as sleep took over. Ethan sat in a chair nearby, watching them, thinking about how fragile life could be. He remembered the days when he himself had struggled to survive, how a simple act of kindness from a stranger had changed his path. Now he hoped he could do the same for these girls. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan continued to care for the girls. He helped them clean up, taught them how to read and write using old manuals he had salvaged, and even shared small lessons about survival on the frontier planet. He never asked for anything in return. The girls were his responsibility now, even if he had no official claim over them. The settlement noticed. Some people whispered about Ethan's unusual generosity. "Why care for orphans when there are so many troubles here?" they asked. But Ethan ignored the gossip. He only knew one thing. Humanity was strongest when people helped each other, and these girls deserved a chance to live a full life. One afternoon, while walking through the market with the girls to gather supplies, the older girl, Lena, asked a question that caught Ethan off guard. "Ethan, why do you help everyone? Even people who don't help back?" Ethan thought for a moment before answering. "Because the world is easier when we take care of each other. If I can make life a little better for someone, even just one person, it matters. It might not seem like it now, but one small kindness can grow into something much bigger than we imagine." Mira, the younger girl, tilted her head. "Like a seed?" Ethan smiled. "Exactly like a seed. You water it with care and it grows strong. Someday it might even become a tree that gives shade to many others." The girls looked at him with newfound respect. They didn't fully understand what he meant yet, but they felt it in their hearts. Ethan's actions had already planted a seed of hope in their lives. As the years went by, the girls grew stronger and more confident. Lena learned engineering basics from Ethan, fascinated by the way he could fix anything. Mira developed a keen sense for strategy and organization, often helping Ethan plan projects and distribute resources around the settlement. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were thriving, guided by the lessons and care Ethan had given them. Despite the hardships of frontier life, the settlement became a slightly better place because of him. Ethan's neighbors began to notice, some joining in to help others in small ways. Slowly, the spirit of humanity, kindness, and cooperation began to spread, a ripple moving outward from one small home on a dusty planet. One night, after the girls had gone to bed, Ethan sat outside his home, staring at the stars. He thought about the future, wondering what paths the girls might take. Would they stay here forever, or would the universe call them to something greater? He didn't know, and he didn't worry. He only knew that he had given them the chance to choose, and that was all that mattered. The wind blew gently across the desert, carrying with it a promise, though Ethan could not yet see it. The seeds of his kindness had been planted, and somewhere in the galaxy, those seeds would grow in ways he could not imagine. He smiled softly, letting the warmth of the small fire near his home chase away the chill. For now, everything was as it should be. 2 orphan girls had a warm meal, a safe home, and hope, and for Ethan, that was enough. Little did he know, his simple act of kindness, a single warm meal, would one day reach across the stars and bring wonders into his life beyond anything he could dream of. 10 years had passed since that cold evening when Ethan first welcomed Lena and Mira into his small home. The settlement had changed slightly over the years, but Ethan's life had remained mostly the same. He was older now, his hair streaked with gray, his hands rough and calloused from years of work, yet his heart still carried the same warmth that had guided him through those early days with the girls. He still worked as an engineer, repairing equipment, fixing small ships, and helping the settlement with the skills he had honed over decades. Life was quiet, simple, and for him, satisfying. But deep down, he sometimes wondered what had become of Lena and Mira. The last he had heard, they were doing well in the city, receiving education and opportunities far beyond the dusty streets of Eridos. He had never expected to see them again. That evening, the sky was a brilliant mixture of purple and gold as the sun began to set. Ethan was finishing up repairs on a small transport vehicle when a strange sound filled the air. At first, he thought it was a dust storm approaching, but the sound was different, smooth, powerful, and mechanical, like nothing he had ever heard before. He looked up and saw a spaceship descending from the sky. It was massive, unlike any vessel he had seen in his life. Sleek, polished metal gleamed under the fading sunlight, and soft lights shimmered along its hull. The ship hovered above the settlement for a moment, then slowly lowered itself to the ground right in front of Ethan's home. Ethan's jaw dropped. He had repaired ships before, but never anything like this. It was elegant, advanced, and seemed almost alive with energy. Before he could even process what he was seeing, a ramp extended from the ship, touching the dusty ground with a soft hiss. From the ramp emerged two figures. At first, he thought it was impossible, his mind struggling to comprehend the sight, but then he recognized them. Lena and Mira, the same girls he had helped so many years ago. But now they were grown women, confident and radiant, dressed in sleek uniforms that spoke of wealth and status. They moved with grace, and there was an aura of authority around them that made it clear they were no longer the small, frightened children he had once known. "Ethan!" Lena's voice called out, carrying over the sound of the ship's engines. She ran toward him, arms wide, and Mira followed closely behind, smiling warmly. Ethan's legs felt weak as he rose to meet them. "Lena, Mira, is it really you?" he asked, his voice trembling with disbelief and joy. "Yes, it's us," Mira said, stepping forward. "We've come home." Ethan shook his head in wonder. "Home? But this ship, what is all this?" Lena smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We wanted to thank you, Ethan. You gave us something no one else could. Hope, kindness, and a chance to live. We've never forgotten it. And now we want to give something back." The words left Ethan speechless. He had never imagined that his simple act of sharing a meal and offering shelter would lead to this moment. He had helped them because it was the right thing to do, never expecting anything in return. And now, here they were, successful, powerful, and offering him a gift beyond his wildest dreams. Mira spoke next, her voice calm and steady. "We've been part of a larger organization for the past few years. Our family adopted us after seeing the kind of people we could become. They helped us grow, learn, and achieve more than we could have imagined. And we realized that none of it would have been possible without you, Ethan." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had lived a simple life, and now he was being recognized not for wealth, power, or achievement, but for something far greater, his humanity. "We want you to come with us," Lena said gently. "We want you to help us with our work, to help other colonies, other people, just like you helped us. Your skills, your heart, your kindness, they are needed across the stars." Ethan shook his head. I don't belong in a place like this. I'm just a simple engineer. I've lived my whole life here. I can't leave everything behind." Mira smiled warmly. "You already belong, Ethan. This ship, this crew, all of it. You are part of it because you've always believed in helping others. You've taught us what humanity is capable of, and now we want you to share that with the galaxy." Ethan's mind raced. The possibilities were endless. He could see it all. The distant colonies suffering from harsh environments, people struggling like he once had. And now, with this ship and the support of Lena and Mira, he could make a real difference. He thought about the years he had spent fixing small machines, patching up broken equipment, and quietly helping his neighbors. All those efforts, multiplied by the resources and reach of this ship, could change countless lives. Finally, he nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. "All right," he said. "I'll come with you. Let's see what we can do." Lena and Mira hugged him tightly, their eyes shining with gratitude and love. "You won't regret this," Lena said. "We'll show you everything, and together we'll help people who need it most." The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Ethan was introduced to the ship's systems, advanced technology far beyond anything he had ever seen. The ship was designed for speed, exploration, and humanitarian missions, equipped with everything needed to reach the most distant and dangerous colonies. Lena and Mira guided him patiently, showing him how his skills could be used on a larger scale. Ethan quickly adapted. He learned to operate advanced machinery, repair complex systems, and even pilot small shuttlecraft. But more importantly, he found that his ability to connect with people, to understand their needs and fears, was just as valuable as any technical skill. Lena and Mira often said, "You teach more than machines, Ethan. You teach humanity." Their first mission together came sooner than Ethan expected. A small colony on a remote planet had suffered a severe storm, leaving many homes damaged and the population in desperate need of supplies. The ship landed smoothly on the planet's surface, and Ethan found himself helping distribute food, repair structures, and provide comfort to the frightened inhabitants. He watched as people's eyes lit up at the sight of the crew, especially when he spoke to them calmly, offering reassurance and advice. The warmth and kindness that he had once shown to two small girls were now reaching entire communities across the galaxy. During the mission, Ethan noticed Lena and Mira coordinating the efforts flawlessly. They had grown into extraordinary women, combining intelligence, compassion, and leadership. Yet they still remembered the lessons he had taught them, the importance of empathy, patience, and hope. Ethan felt a deep pride, not just for what they had become, but for the ripple effect of his simple act of kindness so many years ago. After the mission, as the ship lifted off the planet and soared back into space, Ethan stood at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. He thought about the journey that had led him here, the small home on Eridos, the two orphan girls shivering in the cold, and the warm meal that had changed their lives. He realized something profound. Humanity's strength was not in weapons, technology, or wealth. It was in the ability to care, to help, and to inspire. His simple act of kindness had created a chain reaction that reached across the stars, proving that even the smallest gestures could have cosmic consequences. Lena approached him quietly. "You've made this possible, Ethan," she said softly. "We could do all this because you believed in us, because you showed us the meaning of humanity." Ethan looked at her, his eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "No, Lena. You made this possible. I only gave you a start. The rest was yours." Mira joined them, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Together we made it possible, and together we'll keep helping more people. The galaxy is big, but kindness and courage can reach everywhere." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known before. For the first time in his life, he realized that his small actions, his quiet life on a dusty planet, had grown into something far greater than he could have imagined. Humanity's spirit, its resilience, and its compassion were alive in the stars now, and he was part of it. The ship continued its journey, gliding past planets, stars, and distant moons. Ethan stood with Lena and Mira, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. Every colony they would help, every life they would touch, was a testament to the power of humanity, the simple, undeniable strength of human kindness, courage, and hope. And somewhere deep in his heart, Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of hardship and danger, but also full of possibilities. And as long as humanity held on to its compassion, even the smallest acts could grow into something extraordinary. The story of a warm meal shared on a cold night had transformed into a journey that spanned galaxies, connecting hearts, inspiring hope, and proving that the true power of humanity was limitless. Ethan looked at the stars and smiled. For the first time, he understood that a single act of kindness could change not just lives, but worlds. And together with Lena and Mira, he would ensure that humanity's light shone across the galaxy, bright, unwavering, and eternal.